This is William Hancock. For audience purposes, this is my audience. Say hello, everyone. All right. Hello, my name is William Hancock. I'd like to thank all of you for coming today. Today I'd like to share with you about the field of social work. Something that we may not all know is that in most everyday life, most of us have interaction with social workers in our everyday fields of work ourselves. In most cases, you would meet a social worker in a school building, in a nonprofit organization, or even government agencies. Just like many of us, they also feel undervalued and underappreciated, but the truth is they are actually invaluable with their work to the communities. In my own experience with our local homeless shelters, I have seen the fact that the work that they put in, they are not rightly paid for and rightly seen valuable for. So the purpose of the social worker is what their purpose is where they work, the work that they do, and the biblical just value that they have to their community. So I'd like to talk about three main topics. The first one would be, what is a social worker and what do they do? What's the correlation between education and salary in the United States? And then lastly, what are the biblical values that they bring to our surrounding communities? Social work is a profession for those who just desire to help those in need. In most cases, there are multiple places that you can work. Again, anywhere from a school building to a government agency to nonprofits. In most cases, though, a social worker will be specialized in a specific field. So that could be working with specifically youth or specifically those who are older in age. Each field, again, requires a special education, and because of that, there's a huge correlation between education and income in the United States. In 2010, the overall median for a person who worked in a social worker was around $43,000 a year. For a person who was working in the social work field but had a bachelor's degree in another area, their income was between $26,000 and $50,000. For a person who did have a bachelor's degree in social work, theirs was between $26,000 and $53,000. The biggest difference that we see is someone who is working in the social work field and has a master's degree. They would be between $33,000 and $65,000 annually. So for people to be required to work in this field, there is a specific education they must get. But education isn't everything. To work in the social work field, there has to also be a huge emphasis on a person's character to be able to work with the individuals that they work with on a day-to-day basis. Most people they come into contact with are in the middle of some of the biggest trials in their life. And these people need to see through their social workers the fact that God is real and that He is available to each of us every single day in our own circumstances. If we were to look in Scripture, there are two verses specifically. One's in Proverbs 14:31, which speaks to the fact that if a person oppresses a poor man, he basically is coming against that person's maker. In 1 John 3:17, we again see that if a person has the world's goods and doesn't give it to someone in need, does that person really have the love of God in them? A person needs to see the values of God, and so a person who works in the social work has a huge emphasis and platform in their community to be able to express who God is. They're able to show the fact that God cares about human life. He cares about justice. He cares about mercy. He cares about our love for others, our compassion for one another, specifically those who are poor and oppressed. So let's take a step back and look back at what we've learned. Social workers are people who are doing what they want to do with their lives because it's something that they're passionate about. Also, there's a huge difference in the fact that there are some people who are doing it, but others need to be doing it because they have a better education and they're looking for a better salary. And then lastly, it's because someone literally just wants to show the values of God in their community. So I hope that you are able to look at the field of social work, but more importantly, I would hope that you're able to look at your own field and realize that you too have a platform to show people the value of God. Thank you.